Listen to this. President Trump's energy agenda getting another big boost with new plans to boost coal power for the War Department.
Lucas Tomlinson joins us now from Washington with all the details. Hi, Lucas.
Well, good early morning, Carly and Todd. Coal provides about 16% of electricity generation in the United States, behind natural gas and nuclear power. At one point, over half the nation's electricity came from coal 25 years ago. Now, yesterday at the White House, President Trump signing an executive order bringing it back, directing the Department of War to purchase power from coal plants, a new long-term power agreement from a natural resource that Trump says is vital for our forces.
Coal is also critical to our national security, vital to everything from steel production to shipbuilding and artificial intelligence. It's incredible what's happening with coal. And it's also incredible how clean they're able to keep it now with all of the new techniques. By using it, they're able to do things environmentally that are amazing.
Now, speaking of energy, the energy secretary became the highest-ranking member of the Trump administration to visit Venezuela yesterday, kicking off a 3-day visit after that daring raid by American commandos snatching Nicolas Maduro and his wife from their bed last month. Here's Secretary Wright.
But I bring today a message from President Trump. He is passionately committed to absolutely transforming the relationship between the United States and Venezuela, part of a broader agenda to make the Americas great again.
Wright says he wanted to see firsthand the state of Venezuela's oil industry. His visit follows last month's enactment of a Venezuelan law that opened the nation's oil sector to private investment, reversing more than 2 decades of socialist policy, leading to 8 million people fleeing the country. Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves.
Hi, may I see your voter ID?
I got this driver license.
Yeah, that should work.
No, those don't work, honey.
How about this EBT card?
Yep, that should do it.
Do you have a voter ID? We can get you one here.
How you expect me to do all that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
What's going on? We are here live from the U.S. Capitol on a glorious day. The Save America Act has passed the House, and it is rolling on over to the Senate. And we got a couple senators who will be rolling with us today live from Washington, D.C. Today is Thursday, February 12th, 2026. The Save America Act has passed. Libs are freaking out. Barack Obama is crying because he thinks that his base of support is too stupid to go get an ID. Okay? They need an ID to get a liquor store, need an ID to get on a plane to come here, need an ID to buy a lotto ticket, but no big deal. Don't need an ID to vote. If you're too dumb to get an ID, should you even be voting? A critical question. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Mike Lee and Senator Markwayne Mullin in the studio live with us to answer the questions, will the SAVE Act get passed? More importantly, John Thune on board right now. It's going to be an amazing show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. First, ladies and gentlemen, are you getting enough night sleep? Are you getting a good night's sleep? This is superpower. Superpower is like good rest, good sharp rest. Senator Markwayne Mullin, he's an athlete. He'll be here. Like, you got to sleep. You got to chill out. This is the time for you to lock in with your health. Joy and Blokes is an incredible opportunity for you to do that. Blokes is built for men who are tired of feeling like a shadow when you used to be, and actually do something about it. If it's a dad bod, brain fog, whatever you got, ladies and gentlemen, these are symptoms, and they can be directly tied to your hormones. Every Blokes lab includes a 30-minute consultation with a licensed clinician that can help you get in contact with what's really dragging you down and fix it. We're talking TRT, peptide therapy, NAD+. This is the kind of treatments that can really help get to the root cause, feel like yourself again. So, if you want to start TRT, or if you want to start getting locked in with what is truly dragging you down, it is time to stop settling and go to joyandblokes.com/Benny. Use the code Benny for 50% off your labs, 20% off all supplements. That's joy, J-O-I, and blokes.com/Benny. Use code Benny for 50% off your labs today and get your edge back. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. the Save America Act. What did we get? One House Democrat voted in favor of voter ID. What does this tell you exactly about the state of America? One House Democrat, so what this is it is an IQ test. It is saying that we have either like the dumbest electorate possible as Democrats. We don't trust our own people to have IDs. We don't trust them to have IDs to get malt liquor. We don't trust them to have IDs to get on an airplane. Effectively, Democrats are like, they're saying that their voter base is third world citizens. They're like low IQ, you're talking 70, 60 IQ. This is what they're effectively saying by not voting for the SAVE Act. Because all the SAVE Act is doing is saying you got to be a U.S. citizen, you got to have an ID to vote. You got to have an ID to do literally anything in society. To do anything in society. I check into my hotel in Washington, D.C. We were here for meetings yesterday. Where's your ID? It's a liberal hotel, by the way. It's like liberal propaganda everywhere, all over the hotel. It's such a sunken city here. I can see what the senator's in the studio with me. Senator's like, I got to get back to Oklahoma as soon as possible. This is the entire city. The Uber driver only speaks Farsi. Okay, I had no idea what Muhammad was saying. I'm like, the hotel, I'm checking in. It's like nothing but alphabet propaganda everywhere. I'm like, okay, should I even be staying here? This is out of control. Everything is propagandized in the city. But the first thing they say, the first thing the woke guy has got a septum piercing, blue hair, nose ring, ear rings, okay, the total spectrum-y dude, all right, clearly transitioning. And he's like, give me your ID now. I want it. I need it now, is what the guy says inside of the woke hotel that I stayed at in D.C. Same thing on the airline. So it's like they'll demand ID for everything. You order a glass of wine at dinner, we had a business dinner last night, you order a glass of wine, ID. It's crazy. They're not living in reality, and this is all that the Republicans in Congress are asking for. Okay, let's read the top line here. One House Democrat votes in favor of voter ID. One. I don't even know which one it is. Who is it? Proof of citizenship.
Come on.
Do you know which one it is?
Henry.
I mean, we might.
Texas.
We might as well. Yeah, Cuellar.
Cuellar.
Oh, okay. You bought your part in there, pal. Okay, good job, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome to the stage the great senator from the state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullin. Sweet. What's up, Senator? How we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm assuming, though.
Sorry, we're high energy this morning.
Yeah, I see that. That's a cup of coffee that you haven't even taken a drink out of yet. And I'm thinking, what is it going to be like when you get to the bottom of that cup? This must. So
you don't want to see.
Go back to this Joey Blunt. What'd you say? The ad you had.
Yeah, Joey Blunt.
Look, is it an Australian company?
I don't know.
Because what'd you say? It's Joey and
Blokes.
Blokes. I assumed because isn't Blokes like a guy from Australia?
I actually went and did my blood work. I got got my blood work done, and
Yeah.
you can see where your testosterone levels are as a man. You can see where things are.
What was yours? Yours was pretty low, wasn't it?
It was actually fine.
Well, it was fine.
It was fine.
Tell me your numbers.
It's supposed to be in it's in the 600s.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's 682.
Do you know Jason Smith?
So you want it to be at 800, right? You want it to be up 800, right? So it's like, the problem is you get poisoned by society. Like all of society, everything, the drinking water, everything's fluorinated.
Yeah.
Like it's like all of society is estrogenated, right? So it's like you gotta try and, I don't know, bro. Like, do I move out to Oklahoma? Do I just live completely off the grid?
Yeah, no.
There's good cattle farming in Oklahoma, right?
We're good. We're a red state. We don't poison people. But do you know Chairman Jason Smith from Missouri?
Yeah.
So I talked to him to get his testosterone levels tested. He's like only if you do. No. This is worse. His was higher than mine.
No way.
I swear.
What?
I swear his was higher. Almost double mine.
That shocks me.
Me too. It shocked my wife too.
Was it male-in testosterone or what was it? Was it Dominion? Like who did Dominion?
No, we went to actually GW to a urologist.
Really?
And not to a men's clinic or anything like that. We went to a urologist to do it.
Guys got to take this stuff seriously, and you should just get tested and just see where your body's at, right? And it's not your fault. It's not like someone's gonna come crash out on you or who you are. It's like a lot of this stuff is societal. Like everything from receipts that you get at a 7-Eleven, everything is just covered in estrogen. It's bad. It's bad for men. You gotta watch out what you're putting into your body. Microplastics is terrible.
I am horrible. I have the worst diet in the world. All right, I like Pop-Tarts and cereal.
Really?
Yeah, I eat horrible. People think because I work out that I eat.
You
well.
like a 6-year-old?
Yeah, it may be worse. I mean, I don't like baby food, but I do like the gummies. And so, I mean, I'm just like this. I don't eat well, but I work out hard because my analogy is I want to work out so I can eat what I want. And so my eating habits haven't changed since I was in middle school. And you was laughing about being an athlete and I sleep well. I don't sleep. I sleep horrible.
Really?
I sleep hard.
Sleep is superpower.
But I don't sleep long.
Sleep is superpower.
Yeah,
you gotta get sleep.
I sleep 5 hours maybe.
Wow.
And then I'm up. I can do 4 sometimes, but I'd rather work out in the morning than sleep. It's just the way I am. I'd rather get a good hour and a half workout in than sleep another hour and a half.
Bro, like it's like the story's a legend. Like Trump doesn't sleep at all.
Now I'm not. He doesn't sleep.
Like doesn't sleep. Yeah.
Did I have ever shared a story about him?
Political has a story. Yeah, you go for it.
Political
has a story. There's the transcontinental flights with him.
Yes.
Like he's like wandering around Air Force One, like knocking on doors, trying to talk to people like in the middle of the night.
So I spent a lot of time on the plane with him when we were campaigning.
Yeah.
A lot of time. And I never saw the guy sleep. And so in between doing 3 rallies a day, he was doing 12 telephone town hall meetings for members all across the country.
Unbelievable.
And we would go until midnight at night. We was eating junk food the whole time, which I'm cool with that. But we were eating junk food the whole time. We'd get to the hotel like at midnight, be back in the vehicles by 5:30. And when we get there, he's still wanting to have meetings. Like he's still going. And it never slowed down. And I'd see him crash out for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you can set your clock to it. 1 time a day, and he would just go to sleep and wake up with more energy than he had before he went to sleep. I've never seen anything like it. But he's really bad about calling you between 11 and 1, especially if something's going on. Like if we're working on, the one big beautiful bill, or we're working on the SAVE Act, or we're working on some legislation, we're doing a vote of Rome all night. He's up and he's calling. And if we're leading up to it, he's having conversations about it. And I'm always afraid about him calling me right when I go to sleep because I don't sleep much, but my first hour I go to sleep, I'm out to the world. If you wake me up, I'm not happy. I'm not even myself. I don't remember. So I've always been afraid that he would call me during that first hour of sleep. And I went to bed one time about 11:30, which is a little early for me. And I woke up at 4:30 and I was like, I had a dream I talked to the president. Say, oh God, please tell me I didn't, because I was really bad about it in the first hour of sleep. And I looked at it and said, DJT, and it was black. And I looked at the duration of the call, and it was 3 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this was 4:30 in the morning, so I waited until 5:30 to call him. And he picked up the phone. The first thing he goes and says, you don't remember talking to me, do you? And I said, no, sir. I said, what did I say? And he said, you'll never know. Click, and he hung up on me. Just stay. I have no idea what I said. And I'm scared to death to know what I said. But I'm pretty sure it's going to come back and bite me one day.
I wasn't planning on doing this, but you brought your lovely wife into the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hold up. Y'all are like asleep and Trump's just like calling, and he's just like taking calls from Trump in the middle of the night?
That happens a lot.
Okay.
But I don't always. He's interrupted a few things too. I got to be honest with you.
just, hey Trump, like we're sleeping. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Not always sleeping.
We got some forgiving wives in Congress.
We're not always sleeping. Sometimes I have to catch my breath first. We're married. It happens. Right. My wife.
They
loves
do have
me.
like 10 kids. They do have like 10 kids.
6.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and I remind them, there's a reason why you came to this world. So.
Talking about TRT. We're talking about testosterone. We're here to talk about SAVE Act. We're supposed to be talking about saving American voters.
Yeah, well, it goes different directions. By the way, my wife and I we've been together since 3rd grade.
Really?
Yes, and been married 28 years, 6 kids, from ages 22 to 15.
We have more of that. We saved the country, man.
Yeah, I'm on board with Elon. Let's populate. So
that's right, bro. We're on 4 kids in 4 years. We're shooting for 5 kids in 5 years.
I would have 6 more. But we have a grandbaby.
You hear that, man?
No, we have grandbaby coming down.
Wife Senator Mullen is in the studio with us, so she can make a cameo anytime she wants to. She can just hop right on the stream.
Show people how beautiful you are. Yeah. Come on, I'm married up. Okay, whatever. She's shy.
We're talking SAVE Act. I'm trying to save your marriage act. That's what that's what we're going to do next. We're going to do save Senator Mullen's marriage act by not stream crashing with the wife. Okay, let's talk about the SAVE Act. Damn it!
Let's do it.
Damn it! We're not here to talk about TRT.
Well,
which by the way, we just last week worked out with Kid Rock. We did a workout with Kid Rock and RFK. RFK Jr. and Kid Rock working out in Kid Rock's private gym.
No, I'm so jealous.
Those bros talk about TRT. They talk, because they're like RFK's in the 70s. They're like straight up talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I first of all, I'd love to be in that workout, but that's Bobby at 70 years old is stinking remarkable. He was giving me crap. He's like, man, you smashed my time. On the challenge, the 50 push-ups. Was it 50 push-ups, 100 pull-ups? No, it was 50 push-ups and 100 pull-ups or 200. What was it? It was 100 100 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, and whatever time it was. And I did it in pretty quick because he challenged me, and he was like, "Man, you smashed my time. You made me look bad." And I was like, "You're 70."
Yeah, bro.
How many 70 guys could even do it for time to begin with?
He was 70 and he's total frame maxing.
Yes.
On all of us.
Yeah.
So like he has this big jacket on, and he takes his jacket off, and he's wearing a muscle shirt.
Yeah, of course he is.
And it's like Kid Rock's kind of skinny, Kid Rock's like Trailer Park, like skinny, but like in great shape for 55. He's like jumping around on stage.
Not like he was.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, not like he was on meth, but he was a skateboarder in a trailer park.
That's exactly right. Skateboarder. Right. Yes, exactly right. Trailer park skateboarder.
Yeah, right.
Yep. And I'm like kind of a doughy dad bod, just trying to like get this business off the ground. So I'm like working, but I'm trying, and I'm trying not to like be able to swap clothes with Chris Christie. Okay, that's where I am in life. And
at this point,
trying not to have
it'd be swapped like
that's
one
right.
side of his pants.
Well, yeah, Chris Christie. That's exactly right. You go and you could go lasso like a steamboat with Chris Christie's belt. And so I'm just trying not to be there. But like RFK Jr. is just total, like looks maxing, frame maxing.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah.
Bro, you are I think he's like 72 or something.
You probably haven't seen him with his shirt off, but it's pretty.
He took his shirt off.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was like, I told my wife, I said that expectation isn't in when I'm 70.
Yeah, it's unfair.
Yeah, at some point I'm gonna give up.
Anyway, this has gone crazy off the rails. Dude.
We're talking about Bobby with his shirt off. I mean, where did it go to?
We are trying to save America.
Yeah.
Okay, so we save your marriage first. We're good.
Well, you save a marriage, you save family, you save America. Right.
So I'm trying to save America by having 1 million kids and making more Americans and more Christians.
Right.
And I feel like we can outbreed the left. But I think we could also outvote the left if we got rid of illegal voting. So what's up?
So let's talk about the SAVE Act. First of all, when the Democrats can't make a logical argument, they go to it's racist, right?
Yeah, dude.
So Chucky Schumer comes out immediately and says the SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0, and you're going, really? Okay, it's already in 37 states. And so out of 50 states, there's 37 states that already have a voter ID required when you go vote. And the only 13 states that don't, I'm sure there's no, direct, connection here. But the only 13 states that don't are the ones that voted for Harris and Biden.
Yeah.
The irony of that, right?
Yeah.
So out of 37 states, there's not been one lawsuit that said that we were suppressing, the minority vote. There's not been one complaint that people couldn't vote. And in fact, in Georgia, when they passed the voter ID, remember they were saying that it was going to suppress the minority vote in Atlanta, and actually the vote went up. The next election, there was more people that voted.
My brother in Christ, I went to Atlanta when they were doing all this.
Yeah.
I went to Atlanta, and it was actually Charlie's idea. Charlie's like, why don't you go to Atlanta and chill out with all the homeless people? Like, go under the bridges, go into the tent cities, and go chill out with a bunch of black homeless people. Like, go. Because that's what they were saying. Remember Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola? It felt racist. Everyone, Tyler Perry. And so I went there, and I was straight up asking homeless people. So I went into these, like, filthy homeless encampments. It's all on camera. And I was like, yo, do you have an ID? And they're like, how else would we buy booze? Of course we have an ID.
Right.
All these homeless people, they were living under bridges. I was in their tents, under bridges and everything like that, asking them about it. And they were like, it's actually racist to think that me, as a homeless person, is too dumb to get an ID.
Well, most of the shelters they go into, they have to have a
That's
ID.
A great point. Yeah.
Because they run their ID to make sure they're not a violent criminal.
It's such a stupid argument.
Yes.
If they're resorting that argument, it's such a stupid argument.
Right.
Obama did this today. I'm sure you saw his tweet.
Yes.
So Obama puts it up, and he's like,
Of
"This
course.
will disenfranchise voters." What's your message to Obama?
He's irrelevant at this point. You know, him and Michelle should just go and enjoy their millions of dollars they made off the government because, you know, they were community organizers and they left the White House and somehow they were able to purchase which I'm glad for success, but I don't know how you're a community organizer scraping by living in a rent house. You leave the White House and you're able to purchase an $11 million house. I don't know how that works, but it did for them. So whatever, go enjoy the life.
Check with Epstein's accountants.
Yeah, no joke. So go enjoy your life, but don't sit there and start saying it's racist, because Obama had the best opportunity to bring the country together. I mean, here's a guy that had every excuse to lose in life, and he was raised in Kansas by his white grandparents. And then somehow he made it to Hawaii. I don't know the whole connection there, but he was in Hawaii, he was in Kansas. But his father was absent. And he was a young black man that came up to be able to become a president of the United States with no connection to the world of success. And he did it. And if anybody should have been out there and bring the country together, it should have been Barack Obama to say, listen, don't tell me about racism. Don't tell me about the division. Don't tell me how horrible the country is. If I can do it, and I can be raised by a single white mother, and I can be raised by my grandparents in Kansas in a white community, and I can still make it and become president of the United States. What a great story. Instead, he wanted to bring in division and bring in racism and make Black Lives Matter a signature staple of his presidency. So he has no relevance in my world other than, okay, great, you're the first black American in the United States. The truth is, we want to save America, and that's why this is called the SAVE Act. Yeah. And the way you save America is you bring in confidence in our election. If you want to keep people at home, you keep them at home by thinking that our system is rigged and your vote doesn't matter. And if they think it doesn't matter, then that's how you lose the voter integrity. If they have some type of proof, like using your credit card, most people require a voter ID if you're checking into a hotel with that. If you go rent a car, you got to have a voter ID. If you go sign up for government programs, you got to have an ID. If you board a plane, you got to have an ID. If you go to college, you got to have an ID. Yeah. If you get a job, I legally cannot hire you unless I have a picture and a photocopy of your voter ID. I have to send it into the Department of Labor. It's illegal if I don't have it. And so for them to say that you have to have an ID for anything else you do in the world or in this country except to vote, you have to sit there and go, why? What are they afraid of? That would be the question. What are you afraid of? I think we can answer that question, but what are you afraid of to say that you got to have a voter or you got to have an ID to vote?
Bro, can I ask you a little bit about Georgia? Because I think that's what they're afraid of. Because what happened in Georgia.
Sure.
So the FBI goes and raids Georgia. I know you were critical for Trump's election integrity.
Yeah.
And that you know all the dark secrets. So what can you tell us about what's up in Georgia? Because this is why they want that. They wouldn't be able to pull off what they pulled off in Georgia in 2020 if every ballot had to be tied to an ID.
So, actually, the irony of it, I've been dealing with this on and off the last 36 hours because there's been some new developments. I think you've seen some of President Trump's Truth Social.
Talk to me, Senator.
Well, I can't get into it real deep, but I can tell you that there's been a lot of and we're not trying to rehash the 2020 election, okay? That's in the past, and the president's working in the future. What we're trying to do is keep the 2020 elections from happening in the future. Mm-hmm. And so to do that, you got to identify the irregularities that took place. The irregularities by saying, how did the machines, if the machines were compromised, how were they compromised, or how would they have been compromised? So you got to use a legal term there. If you have voter mail-in ballots, how were they harvested? How were they received? Who signed for them? Who were the individuals that signed up for them? How many of them were sent to the same address? We have so many of them that came from the exact same address. Now, I have a big family, and we have a lot of people that come in and out of my house. But I can assure you the only people that vote with my address or my wife and I and my kids, when they were still in high school, now they have their own address in the college towns that they're at, right? But I can assure you, those are the only people. So how are you having a single family home with 20 and 30 people voting from the same address?
Yeah, for real.
No, that's it, and that's what you're having here. So what you're saying is you're having voting harvests go by because there's a bunch of homeless people, which is fine, right? They have the right to vote too. But how they all of a sudden get coordinated there at the same address? Who went and did that? Because in Georgia, ballot harvesting in that degree, now you can go collect ballots, but the true term of ballot harvesting is illegal. And what that is that when you go and you fill it out for people, and you're stamping it and you're mailing it for them, not just simply picking it up and you're not looking over their shoulder while they're doing it. And there's a lot of that that's been showing up in Georgia. There's a lot of counties and precincts that had a lot more people voting than they had seen in the years past, and that was registered to vote from that precinct, which is why voter ID is so critical. I mean, just show that you're able, that it's who you are. I'm in Oklahoma, in a small town, Adair County, where my wife and I were raised our entire life, graduated from, raised our family in. I go to the precinct. Everybody knows me. I mean, everybody knows me, right? And I still have to show a voter ID.
Yeah, that's right.
They turned me away one time because I forgot it. I had to go back home and get my stupid wallet because I forgot my wallet. I never forget my wallet. And I had to go back home, which was a 30-minute drive because out to our ranch, and turn around and come back to vote. And I mean, it's not like they don't. I was like, you could Google it, but it's not. And the lady that was doing it she's our second grade teacher. So, but that's in small town America. So if they can enforce it, then Atlanta, Georgia can enforce it.
So what? Hold up. So okay. So why don't we talk through how would the Save America Act? Sorry, don't mean to misgender the bill. How the Save America Act is going to prevent this, and where is that act today? Because John Thune makes big news this morning. He's like, I am a co-sponsor, which is huge. So how does it prevent what we saw in 2020? Talk me through that. Where is that bill going to go? Well,
it won't go into effect right now in the 2020 or the 2026 midterm elections. It won't go into effect until 27. And so Mike, who is brilliant at this, by the way, Mike is one of those friends that you need to have because he can quote law and statistics better than anybody, but sometimes he talks to you like, hey, bring it down, man. Like, use English that I can understand, because he dives so deep into it. But there were some issues. The Democrats were complaining about it, and he paid attention to them. That's kind of the brilliance of Mike. Mike, okay, well, we can clean it up, because they were like, it's difficult.
You're talking about Mike Lee?
Mike Lee,
yeah. Senator
Mike Lee from Utah. He goes, listen, there's some problems with it, because the Democrats are saying that you got to show citizenship when you register to vote, and you got to show citizenship. This is one of the arguments when you go to vote too. He's like, that was not the intent of it. Since that's not the intent of it, we're going to clean it up. And then they were talking about, what about those that are already registered to vote? That's already signed affidavit that said that they're legal to vote. He says that's not our intent to redo and make everybody go sign up to re-vote again. This is for people that are registering to vote. And then it was like, well, what about the cost to the individual? So the cost to the individual goes to, well, can't you just not do this with your voter ID? So when you get your real ID, like my wife and I, we had to do a change of address just recently, and when we went to go there, we already had a real ID. But to get the real ID, I had to show my birth certificate, which showed my citizenship. And then when we went to go redo it, I could register to vote there, and you could register as a Republican because I already had my real ID. So does your real ID, if you showed your birth certificate at the time to show that you're a citizen, does it count as proof of citizenship? And so Mike went through and cleaned a lot of that up, which is why he had to do another bill because on the first bill there was already 50 co-sponsors, and so he had to rewrite it and reissue it, since it can't be amended yet because it wasn't on the floor. So that's why we're getting new co-sponsors. That's why John Thune just signed up. So what it does now, and Mike can go into it even more in detail, is once you register to vote and you show your proof of citizenship, which is your birth certificate or passport, whatever it is. Once you show that you're a citizen, you sign up. Now you're on the register. So when you go to the precinct, all you got to do is just show the voter ID, or show your ID, not voter ID card, just your ID, like you do when you check in a hotel. And you go there and say, yeah, that's you. check. That's your name, that's your picture, you're registered, here's your ballot, go vote. It doesn't take any time at all. Like I said, 37 states already do that. We already have it. So it's just voter integrity is all this is. And people will say, well, it's not constitutional. Well, Article 1, Section 4 does allow the federal government to have a say in federal elections, not state elections. So state elections, you can hold a state election however you can. Well, federal government isn't impeding in that. But the Constitution clearly says that you're supposed to be a citizen of the United States. It doesn't clarify how that proof is because people didn't have ID back then.
Sure.
And so this isn't outside the Constitution. We're not telling the states how to run state elections, but we already tell states when they got to have the primary or the general elections. We don't tell them how to handle the primaries. We don't tell them if you got to have a runoff state or if it's a winner-take-all state. We don't tell them how they have to do runoffs if they do it. We just tell them that this is a date that the general election has to take place in federal elections. That's the only time we get into it. And we don't even tell them how they have to handle their runoffs their special elections. So for federal elections, we have the constitutional right to say that you got to prove that you're a citizen. And so this is well within the Constitution. So when the Democrats go out there and say it's racist or they say that it's federalizing an election, their memory's short because they did try to federalize the election. Back when when Biden was in office, when Chucky Schumer was leader and Nancy Pelosi was speaker, they tried to get out there and federalize election to require that mail-out ballots were supposed to be sent to every voter.
That was like their first priority. Yeah, that's right.
Because they know that mail-in ballots are where they have the most flexibility to control the vote.
Are you going to get any Democrat senators to sign on to that? You going to get Fetterman?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is it possible?
It's possible. I mean, John already said that he's thinking about re-registering as a Republican.
Come on.
No, he did. He came out publicly and said that. He says, "My party isn't anything that I recognize anymore." Yeah. And so it's funny because he said that, and Lisa Murkowski said that she was thinking about going the other direction.
Yeah, that's right. Lisa Murkowski.
It'd be an even trade, I guess.
She's nasty.
And John's a wonderful guy. I don't know if you've ever had him on your show or not,
no,
but
I'd love to though.
He is awesome. He's hilarious, first of all.
Yeah.
But so you could get John to do that. Keep in mind that, like I said, we have 37 states that already have this. Out of those 37 states, I think there's 9 Democrat senators that are from those states. Remember, Georgia's got 2 of them, and so it'll be interesting how they vote. Now, I don't think they'll sign up, but when the vote comes to the floor, how do they vote? Because overwhelmingly, their state supports it. Remember, this is like an 82% issue.
Yeah, of course.
Across Republicans,
There's no defense.
Democrats,
That's what I love about this
independents,
tactic.
libertarians, right? 82. This is some people say it's 80. The numbers I've seen on average is 82%. Yeah. 82% issue that the American people want this. So you're standing with the 18%, but that's where the Democrats find themselves all the time too, right? Enforcing the nation's laws on immigration. That's our overwhelming issue that the American people want. I don't care what demographic you poll, it's well over 50% that they want it. It just depends on how you ask the question. If you ask the question, do you think all illegals should be deported right now? 52% of America, regardless of the way you register to vote, says yes. If you say, do you think the criminals and the felonies the criminals and the felons that are here illegal should be deported?
That would go
That's
up
like
way,
75,
go way up if you ask
75%.
It'd go way up if you ask should Bad Bunny be deported?
Yeah.
Go like the whole thing. Just take the whole. Has anyone ever tried to deport a halftime show?
This is the first time I've never watched a single minute of the Super Bowl.
No one's ever tried to deport a halftime show.
Yeah, it's true.
Which I think would be fun.
Did you see one of the memes that came out there about the all the bushes that came in? Did you see that one?
Which one?
The one with, because I guess during the halftime show he brought in a whole bunch of shrubbery.
Yeah.
And there was one that came out and they said this is one way to disguise.
We can put it out. Yeah, that's right.
Did it come from the White House?
Yeah, White House TikTok, man.
Oh, was it?
Based.
I didn't.
Yeah. They are based. They run it back. Okay, so real quick, because I think I hear Senator Lee's joining us too. Get the WWE walk in. Tell me about tell me about, because you were so critically involved in President Trump ensuring 2024 election was a solid and sound election. A lot of people in the chat are like, listen, this is like Nicolas Maduro. This is like the minion voting systems, Smartmatic. This is why some of that raid happened. Maybe Maduro's gonna like squeal and tell us the whole thing, right? He's gonna like tell us how these systems worked throughout the world to rig elections. And it's crazy, man. We went through the Brazilian elections. We went through John Ossoff's election, Warnock. It's like the margins are like totally algorithmic. The margins are like perfect, like to the letter, 49.2 versus 50.3, right? It's like somebody punched it into a computer system, right?
So
for the votes, and then you go back into Fulton County, and you're like, well, I mean, Rudy's telling us that they were straight up printing ballots like on site, and that like they have 17,000 votes that nobody even knows where they came from. They have no ballots to match the actual votes. Then we went back and checked the tape. They were coming up with different numbers like by the hour of how many votes they had. It was like a machine was trying to like create an algorithm, trying to punch in like a specific. You can go back and check it, and then they're like, "Oh, don't worry, it's a water pipe. It's the water pipe. Shut it down."
So the way that this,
what happened,
I dove in deep, real deep, and you know that during this, and not publicly, but very privately. And I went to Elon first, and I said, "Elon, is it possible?" Right? I mean, here's arguably the smartest guy in the world.
For real.
Right? Especially when it comes to anything electronic.
Yeah.
And he says anything that is man-made can be manipulated. Anything. And anything that's open to a connection, meaning an open source connection, even if it's secured, can always be tagged. And especially if you have the key. And I was like, what do you mean the key? He says the key is the back door that even if you have a secure network, I can still open the key. The key is a very encrypted code. And with the key, I can enter the back of it and I can come out of it and leave no footprint. He says, so who controls the key? I'm not a tech guy, but I dove into it. And so when he started looking at that, so he's like, okay, well, how would this be possible? Hypothetically, and I've got to use legal terms here, all right? You understand, because I don't want to get you in trouble or anything. So
go for it.
So let's start hypothetically. Hypothetically, the way that it would be done, hypothetically, is that they wouldn't go in and change a red county to blue. They would change the percentages. So if you're going for a popular vote in a state, and the state gets electoral votes, so they would take a red county that normally wins by 20%, and they would drop it down to 19.1. And then they would take a blue county that typically wins by 10%, and they would increase it by the same amount. Right? So
you could barely notice that. You'd be like, oh yeah, whatever.
So
just like a couple people didn't vote.
It's not hitting the irregularities. It's just so it doesn't trigger an audit, because you're not having a 15-point swing, you're having a percentage swing. But if you do that enough through each precinct, now because you take it from county to precinct, and how many precincts are in a county, well, it depends on the population. But so you're keeping roughly the same amount of votes that's in that county, and you're just screwing with each little precinct by a percentage, small percentage, not even a full basis point, just a percentage. And if you do that enough throughout the election, especially if you already have it calculated on which specific, you can't do it throughout the country because there's too many of them, which ones are going to be purple, which are the target, well, we all know the target states. So if you go in and you start changing those percentages, small percentages, not to hit a audit, the only way you catch that is if you go to each one of those precincts and you start hand counting every single ballot. But if you fall within the parameters that it doesn't trigger an automatic audit, then it takes a court order to change it. And so it's very smart the way supposedly they were able to change these vote percentages to allow the popular vote to go to where they wanted it to go. And then, by the way, they could also increase, say the population had increased in that area because you had a hard move in. And not everybody had registered, but they knew that a lot of people had moved in based on housing, because they could go in, because this isn't done the night of the election. This is done months or years out by looking at where the population base is growing, but the percentage of registered voters aren't. So you change it to where you can vote without being registered. You just have to sign in that you're doing it, and you do it by voter or by mail-out ballots. And so it's an affidavit that's been signed, which is why you have so many collected from one town or one address, and then you can run that percentages up of people that supposedly voted based on the population growth that goes in. So this isn't something that was just supposedly done by by just filling in the ballots the night of because when this is many. That's what a lot of people think. This is much more in depth. This was supposedly. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. Supposedly it would been planned years out or months out, and they had a contingency plan for a contingency plan for a contingency plan based on pure numbers.
So this is where when you have that chart, and I know we have it in the production notes. You have the chart where it's like this is what Obama got in 2012.
Yeah.
This is what Hillary got in 2016, 65 million, 65 million. Here's what Kamala got in 2024, 65 million. And then you have Joe Biden.
Yeah.
81.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wait a second, did you just like make up 20 million Democrats? You just made them up? You're telling me that like Kamala, Hillary, and Obama couldn't get those 20 million Democrats out, but Joe Biden could campaign so this is how it happens.
When you change small percentages throughout the country, and precincts that are swing precincts or heavy precincts, it's not just swing, but it's heavy precincts. So, like I said, who's going to pay attention to when this precinct's supposed to go 20 points and it goes 19.1? You're within your margin of error, right? So they're not going to say that.
Sure.
But maybe the precinct went 21. And they took 2 percentage points off of it, and maybe this and so this one that was a red one, they just added in. So the vote count roughly stays the same, but the popularity totally changes. And when you sit down and Elon, it's supposed to be a 30-minute meeting with him, and we ended up spending an hour with him. Which, by the way, that guy is intense. Intense, very intense. And when you sit down and you talk to him about this, it just blows your mind. And then you see Elon start looking at this and going, this is absolutely possible. I mean, it went from yes, it's possible to holy smokes, this is absolutely possible. And I've been working on this now since 20. I'm going to have to look at my wife. Was it 23? Was it 23 when I started working? 22, 23? 23 is when I really dove into it. Really, because now we're getting in the midterms and we're like, okay, what do we do to voter integrity, right? And when you started diving into it, the farther you go into, it just doesn't. I could pull up Signal messages right now that I've been getting last night that I haven't even checked yet. That's still working on this because voter integrity is the most important thing. Like I said, the way you can destroy our election system is for people not to trust our elections. And President Trump wants voter integrity more than anything, and we want to deliver that for him. And I think we will. We've already done so many things because of knowing this. Going to the midterms, you would see messaging going out from the White House saying, we are prepared for this. You even saw Elon even come out and say a couple things like, listen, if we see this, to just put people on notice that we got your game. We're if you did this or if you try this again, we've got your game. We know where you're going. So already put them in notice. And now it's a matter of going in and fixing it to make sure that if someone doesn't have an Elon there putting their eyes on it, or we're not putting our eyes on it, to keep it from happening again. And that's President Trump's number one goal is voter integrity. It's not to rehash 2020. It's to keep our voters and the American people confident in our elections in the future.
So 2 quick follow-ups here.
Yeah.
One, this is how you helped secure the 2024 election.
Well, I don't want to. Listen, I was a small guy with a group of people.
Yeah.
I saw the importance of people. If they were.
This was a sound election.
Yeah.
This election did not look anything like the 2020 election.
Yeah.
Nothing like it. Right? Nothing like it.
Right.
And by the way, our chat doesn't have any major complaints about the 2024 election. Right?
No.
There was no water pipe bursts. There was no power outages.
There wasn't
There was no boxes and like bunch of vans and everything like that.
Yeah.
No, nobody has footage like that. If we had footage like that, we'd show it.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like so much cleaner. So just quickly talk me through that process.
Well, that's what I said. By putting people on notice that we're watching, we're aware of their game, made a lot of people very worried. About what was happening. Yeah. They didn't want to expose themselves because they knew the trouble they would get into. Yeah. So just by calling them out, sometimes by just putting you on notice, saying, "Hey, man, I don't want to hurt you, but you take another step towards me, and you're in my comfort zone, and I'm going to remove you." Right? That's putting you on notice. Now you got to make a decision. Are you brave enough to step in that circle? And that's the same thing in this. By us just going out there and exposing, saying, "We know some of your tricks. If you did it, supposedly, if you did it, we know some of your tricks, and we're watching all of it now. And if you do, since we're watching, we're not going to allow you to be able to go back out and cover your tracks. We're going to grab it. Right. And then we're going to expose it." So by putting them on notice was what probably helped a lot of the election in 24. But now it's assuring it up. Mm-hmm. And the president has put so much time and effort, not for his election. He's not running again. He's done. He's doing it for the American people. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, you should want that. Yep. You should want voter integrity, no matter what it is. Because if another Democrat gets elected to office, which will happen at some point, you want to be confident that we didn't rig it. Because let me tell you, if you could do it, we can do it. So let's keep it safe for all the elections for down the road.
This is why Elon is going so hard in the paint on the SAVE Act.
Yes.
So because you've just like laid out an architecture of how important it was for Elon to understand how these elections could be rigged if every machine is hooked up to the internet. Yeah. And so the moment that light switch went on, I mean, this is the piece of legislation. I've never seen Elon go after a piece of legislation like he's done with the SAVE Act.
One thing that people don't know is I wasn't the important person because I don't know the technical side of it. The most important person in our voter integrity in 2024, I will say arguably, or actually I would just know what you say arguably. No, I say arguably because there are some big people that played roles, but no one took a front approach more than Elon.
Wow.
No one took a more public frontal approach than Elon did.
I don't think that story's been fully told, but it's like a fascinating.
He didn't take credit. He wouldn't take credit for it, but it is. It's pretty amazing at his role, and he deserves a tremendous amount of credit for it.
And so, in closing, he wants that SAVE Act because he's been able to see how these things can be rigged.
Yep.
He has the light bulb on. Yep. He's fully aware. And so he wants that SAVE Act.
Yep.
This is why, right? Like it's not.
And
just
here's
like,
a guy that can never even run for president of the United States.
That's right.
But he loves our country this much. I mean, he's trying to protect the integrity because he can also see what's happened in his home country and what's happened with the voter integrity.
I mean, that's too bad that he can't run for president because I would want an African American president. You know, like that's too bad. You know, because I'm sitting there saying I want this African American president, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be so healing for America to finally have that.
I don't know how you're keeping a straight face on that one, but
right, like we could finally be there. It's finally equality. You know, we could all say.
Yeah.
Right. Like Don Lemon's been charged with the KKK Act, and Elon Musk is president. We have an African American president.
The irony of that one.
Perfect.
Yes, the irony.
Perfect. You know, and it's just too bad.
Yeah.
You know? That's too bad. You have to ask Mike Lee. Maybe we can change that amendment. You know.
Mike Lee will know the case law.
Okay,
and he'll quote the paragraph and the line number. I challenge him on it. I challenge him on it. I hope he can't do it because it'll be the first time he can't.
Your wife's sitting here like, what show is this exactly? Like first they're talking about TRT, chin-ups, push-ups with RFK frame maxing, looks maxing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's like Elon Musk, and then it's like you swing wildly into Elon Musk, like the dark truth about saving the election, which is an awesome story.
Yeah.
It should be a movie.
Yeah.
Honestly.
By the way, he's a big guy too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how big of a guy he was until the first time I met him.
My executive producer, ALX, like 6'2", and he has this photo with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk like way taller than him. Yeah, that's right.
I look like he's one of his kids.
Executive producer, ALX, wearing his Patriots swag. Look at that. R.I.P. All right, well, Senator, we got Senator Lee in the House. This was amazing.
Thank you.
And then I guess as we sign off here, obviously put up the Senator's social media. Make sure everybody follow Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. Maybe a final over/under on like the SAVE Act getting passed. You know.
Well, I think Mike will probably know it more. We'll get 51 votes. I'm really confident on that.
Yeah. Without JD Vance, what does that mean? Without JD Vance or no?
We'll get 50. I don't think JD can vote on it because it takes 60 So he can only cast a tie vote, right? So can he? I'm looking at Mike. He can? Okay. So we'll get 51, because I know we'll get 50. Because Susan Collins hasn't came out against it. Lisa and Mitch are the only, Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell are the only people that came out against it. Susan's been silent on this. And so yes, we'll get 50 votes. But then the question is what do we do with the talking filibuster, or how do we move it? Do we attach it to something? I don't want to get in Mike's lane. Mike is magical at this one. So this is his baby.
Well, here we go. That's a perfect handoff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Man,
Appreciate
God bless you.
God
all
bless
right.
you too. Yeah.
What a great crew. He's got. Come on. Have the wife could come in and just say what's up.
Say hi, babe. Gonna say hi. Come on.
I want to prove to the chat that I want to prove to the chat. Look at that.
You got to go with that. You can't see.
We got the happy couple. Hello, big love, nothing but love for Mrs. Mullen.
Hey there.
The Mrs. Mullen. How do you do it? How do you do it, man?
I survive.
How do you do it? This guy's high energy.
I survive.
He's out here bouncing a rubber ball all day.
I know. I don't know any different.
I
just don't know any different. I think if he was not crazy, I would think something's wrong. That's when I get worried. All
right. And real quick, I got to put you on the spot. What's your advice to young women out there? We go to these conferences, Turning Point conferences, and they're like, I want like a good, stable relationship. I want to get married. You want young women. They want your life.
Yeah.
I really want I want to have kids. I want to have like a husband, who's out providing for the family. Like, what's your advice to young women out there who are like searching?
Put the Lord first, like above marriage, above kids, above anything, is put the Lord first, because once that all falls into place and you have God's will, then everything else will be great and perfect. I mean, there's issues, don't get me wrong. I mean, there are issues, like raising 6 kids is like, I survive, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, because I know like God's plan for us and I'm in it. And so as long as I'm in God's plan, everything else is good. So that's what I would suggest to young ladies and women, that if you want to be that wife and mom, it starts with being a godly woman. You know what? Marriage is a sacrament. Marriage is something that is blessed. Christ says the church is his bride, right? Like, this is so important. God actually cares about you. He cares about your life. He has someone destined for you. You just need to be locked in, right, with Christ.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
Christ Maxim.
Awesome.
That's
Thanks,
right, with
thanks.
Mrs. Senator Mullen.
Amazing.
You.
Thanks for keeping this guy strong for us. Okay, my man.
Right,
what a beautiful family, man.
you.
All right. And Senator Mike Lee is in the house. Thank you. Thank you, Mullins. Sorry, what is the plural of Mullen? Mullinses. Mullinses. Mullinses.
Not my element.
Okay. All right. What's up, Senator? How we doing?
I think it's Molinet.
Molinet. That's great. I don't speak French.
Neither do I.
I don't speak French.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Senator? What's up?
Doing great.
Look, I was telling you what, man. The look, it's great. The Hitman look is awesome.
Well, thank you. It's a much nicer way of saying it than the bald man look. But,
It's a Hitman look, man. Yeah. It's
Legislative Hitman.
Yeah, that's right. So let's talk about it. Okay, so I got to get you to respond to something. ALX, let's throw it up. Let's throw up that Obama tweet. Obama's been tweeting at you, man, this morning.
At me?
At you.
I'm so flattered.
Tweeting at you this morning. That's right. So here's what he has to say. And we're going to open it up. I'll show it to you right here. We'll pop it up on screen, boys. Okay? He says, vote no on the SAVE Act. He got the name wrong. Okay? So maybe like Obama doesn't know. It's the Save America Act, so he doesn't even know. So it's up on screen here. Republicans are trying to pass the SAVE Act. He got the bill name wrong. A bill would make it harder to vote, disenfranchise millions of Americans. So what's up with that?
Yeah,
what's your message to Obama?
I had seen this one.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he responded to my response. I quote tweeted him last night and said, look, with all the many millions of dollars that the far left is throwing at this, because that's obviously a pretty professionalized.
Yeah, I mean, here's Obama showing his ID.
You'd think that.
Scroll down to the comment. You can scroll down to the comments on the tweet. You can see Obama using his ID to vote. It's great. Hold on, keep going. Matt Van Swole. There he is.
Oh,
here's my ID. Doy.
Benny, I'm shaking. I'm shaking right now. I'm
Look
shaking.
how racist Obama is.
I'm so triggered because I mean that's just.
Look at these look at these clearly racist poll workers asking Obama for his ID.
Right.
Whoa, that's too bad. And this was probably in Chicago, no doubt, right?
Right.
Wow, man. Yikes, that's Jim
Crow.
Schumer
says that's Jim Crow. That's what it is.
That's Jim Crow 2.0. I can't believe it. How would Obama support these racial structures in society, these racist structures in society, by showing his ID. Look at him reaching in his pocket. Look at him right there. There he goes.
Like, why wouldn't civil disobedience be in order?
That's
there?
right, man. He should have just kicked over that table with all those aunties at it. Just kicked the table over and been like, how dare you? Jim Crow 2.0.
Is nothing sacred?
That I don't know. I don't know, man. That's right. Don Lemon's being charged with the KKK Act, so I guess there's no rules. There's no rules. Okay, so your response to Obama? Jokes aside.
He's wrong. First of all, yeah, I pointed out last night, you think with all those millions of dollars, they could afford to at least get the name right. But look, whatever. That's right. This isn't a big deal. In fact, what's a big deal is that we even have to have a law for this.
Correct.
And what he and so many other people are missing about the Save America Act is that what made this whole thing necessary has a lot to do with an existing federal law. A lot of these guys who are taking shots at it, including some, unfortunately, within our own party, but a lot of Democrats are taking shots at the Save America Act by saying, this is an attempt to federalize all elections. States are in charge of elections. We should keep the federal government out of it. Well, generally speaking, that's right. But it's missing two important points. First, Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution gives us a limited degree of say in how federal elections are conducted. Federal elections, including and especially for U.S. senators and U.S. representatives and for presidents. But secondly, to the extent it's an intrusion into the conduct of elections, it's an intrusion that was necessitated by federal law. That federal law, the National Voter Registration Act, passed in 1993, was interpreted a couple decades later by the Supreme Court of the United States in a case called Arizona versus Intertribal Council. And they interpreted it to say that when you register to somebody to vote in a state using the NVRA form, a federal form, a state may not, it cannot, it is legally prohibited from requesting proof of citizenship. That's why we have to get involved in this, and that's what he's missing. That's what so many people who are criticizing this bill and the need for it are missing. We have to do this because federal law right now creates an untenable set of circumstances. So you've got that interpretation, then you've got, 10, 15 million people who came in illegally over between 2021 and 2025 alone. And then on top of all that, one of the things that's changed since the NVRA was first enacted back in the early 90s is that we now have nearly every state issuing driver's licenses to non-citizens. And you've got, I think, 19 states willing to issue driver's licenses even to known illegal immigrants. That's what makes this necessary, because the whole point of the NVRA was to allow people to register automatically to vote when they apply for a driver's license. All they have to do is check a box saying, I want to register to vote, and sign their name certifying, by the way, I'm eligible to vote. That's a problem.
So why would anybody be opposed to this? I've been trying to track it, man, and I don't get it. It's like the argument is that Democrat voters are too low IQ to even function in society at all. Again, I just checked into my hotel. Totally woke, Washington D.C. Rainbow flags everywhere, septum piercing, blue hair person checking me in. First thing that they do is ask me for an ID. It's the first thing. First thing that happens.
Were you triggered? Were you triggered
when I get on? Of course.
You want to talk about it?
Again, I screamed. I said, I'm going to charge you with the KKK Act. To get on the flight, come up here. It's the same thing. It doesn't make. I don't know how they have any grounds to oppose this. I don't understand any of the argument against it.
Well,
the argument for it is easy. What could possibly be the argument against it?
All right. So the best I could come up with is just to say that any incremental step you add could deter voting. But let's think about that for a minute. It doesn't make any sense. It's like saying any incremental step that you add to somebody buying alcohol could make it less likely that they buy alcohol, or take something that has an explicit constitutional protection. Buying a firearm, you have to present ID. You go to a federal licensed firearms dealer, you're going to have to show ID. They're going to have to do a background check on you. That is a constitutional right protected by the U.S. Constitution. And you're adding another step, therefore it might deter some people from doing it.
Oh, and if you want to buy like a silencer, if you want to buy like a suppressor, you got to wait 6 months, 8 months.
Which is insane, by the way.
All these layers,
A suppressor doesn't make anything more lethal. It just makes it so your hearing doesn't get shot, and so it's easier to protect.
Totally.
I mean, even if you wear, sound suppressors on your ears, it's going to be much easier if you can use a suppressor on your gun.
So you want to talk about layers? Try buying a firearm.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So my point is that's the best argument that they can come up with. You asked me to concoct the best argument they've got, and I think that's really it. But you can't view that in isolation. It's like saying anything that makes it harder for people to vote is bad, therefore we have to ban it. Therefore we're going to make it so easy for people to vote that they can phone it in from anywhere and push 1 to vote for candidate A and 2 to vote for candidate B. That would make it easier. So the fact that we don't do that makes voting harder. Therefore, you're suppressing voter turnout. That's ridiculous.
Swalwell said.
It's ripe with opportunity.
He wants to vote by phone.
That's just
that's great of talking about it.
It's election fraud manipulation. That's incitement of election fraud, you might say. And so that's the best argument they can come up with, but it sucks. It's a terrible argument. It collapses under its own weight because it proves the point as to why we need it. When you have elections, if you just had a stack of pieces of paper and anybody could go grab one and write the candidate's name and throw it in there, and you didn't check a box to say, hey, Benny, you already voted, you scoundrel, sit down and stuff in the ballot box. You could argue that too, just keeping track of who has voted, having a requirement that you register to vote, that too deters voting. And yet we allow those steps because the integrity of the election matters.
So, talk me through the game theory of getting this passed. So people have, now it is in my timeline. I mean, I'm telling you, Senator, I've never seen a bill like this, not the big, beautiful bill. I've never seen a bill like this get so much kinetic energy from the base itself. People really care. Scott Pressler, I know, is camping out in your office. I think he's got a cot there, right? And he's got all of his hair products.
I've asked him if I could borrow some of his hair.
Right.
He's got an abundance. As long as we're redistributing stuff in this town, he ought to redistribute some of his hair to me. But that's a different
story. So it's like people are motivated here. So can you game theory for our audience? What's next?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Scott and you. Look, once you mention one person, it's so hard to do that because there's so many others to mention. But he's an example. You're another example of someone who has done a lot of work to increase public awareness. That's part of the magic behind this bill is that so many people are doing so much lifting all on their own independently. And it's happened, Benny, because this resonates with people. They see what the risks are. And especially when they understand the legal backdrop, the historical backdrop against which this became necessary, they become just amazed at the fact that this is necessary and amazed at the fact that this is even a little bit controversial. And it's kind of like anything and everything that the left throws at this makes our movement twice as energized. Every time they add another ridiculous argument, our own supporters become twice as energized to get this thing done. And the thing is, the American people are with us. This is like an 80-20 issue.
Yeah, for real. Yes. For like a bunch of Democrats, black people, Hispanics, like even Bad Bunny fans are like in favor of this.
Bad Bunny fans, good Bunny fans, all the Bunny fans.
All the Bunny fans. Okay, so again, architect, you are the parliamentarian master mind of the Senate. You are the hitman. You're the legislative hitman here. What happens next? Murkowski is like, fine, whatever. Like, what happens next?
All right. So it's very important now that the House of Representatives has passed this, and I want to thank the House sponsor, my teammate in all of this, Chip Roy, great congressman from Texas. He's the House sponsor of it. They got it through. They got it passed last night. It now comes over to the Senate, and it's built into a Senate-passed vehicle, another bill that was passed by Senator Rick Scott on a different topic that's pending in the House. They hauled that out. They put that in there. They're sending it over to us in the form of a message. It saves us an additional legislative step. What I would like to see happen is for it to come over this Senate. It's not quite clear what's going to happen. Both the House and the Senate are scheduled to be out with members back in their home states the next week. It's not clear whether that's going to happen yet because there's this Homeland Security shutdown risk going on. But if, in fact, we are out next week, I would love to see this come to the Senate floor on Wednesday, the 25th of February, the day after the President's State of the Union address to Congress. And I'm speaking for what I would prefer here. I don't want to speak for Leader Thune or for the Senate in its entirety. Don't have the authority to do that. But this is what I would like to see, and I've articulated this to my colleagues, including Senator Thune late last night. I would love to see it come to the Senate floor Wednesday, the 25th. We vote to proceed to it on a motion to proceed. That is it at a simple majority. Now, after that, historically, once we're at that stage, a debate would begin. Somebody would at some point file a cloture petition. And the cloture petition is what, after it ripens, you have a delay after it's filed before you can vote on it. But when you vote on it, that vote is set at 60. That's why most Americans believe, and as a practical matter for many decades, it has often been the case that you've got to have 60 votes in order to get something passed. But you don't actually pass it at 60. 60 is just the threshold for cloture. That's the mechanism by which you force debate to come to a close, even if there are some senators who still want to continue to debate. You say at that point, no more debate, because 60 of us agree it's time to bring debate to a close. There is another way. This just hasn't been used in a long time, and it's known as the talking filibuster. The talking filibuster is what I describe. I've talked a lot about this on X and elsewhere, and to my colleagues, is you have the talking filibuster and the zombie filibuster. The filibuster refers to the process by which senators are encouraged to, and to a significant degree, are protected by the Senate rules in their ability to engage in unlimited debate as long as they want to. But they're supposed to have to speak. To go to the Senate chamber, stand up on the Senate floor, seek recognition, and once recognized, you begin speaking, and you stand. And you should have to speak in order to prolong debate and thus delay the moment of ultimate passage on this. We've allowed it to become very easy for senators to, in effect, filibuster without ever actually having to speak. They don't have to stand, don't have to speak. Shoot, they could be asleep. They could be in the Bahamas. They could be somewhere else, and they have the benefit of it. On a bill like this, where it's 80-20 in support of the bill, the American people overwhelmingly want it and need it, it really is important for us to make senators speak. And I think that's what we ought to do rather than going down the cloture route. And you use this in order to exhaust senators. Trent Lott, former Senate Majority Leader, has put it this way when describing the Senate. Most of what happens in the Senate it comes about as a result of one of two things: exhaustion and consent. Members become physically exhausted from talking. The desire to speak grows out. I sometimes put the exhaustion into three categories: physical exhaustion, political exhaustion, where you exhaust the limitations of what the voters are willing to put up with. At some point with an 80-20 bill, they see this unlimited debate, especially if they're going off on tangents. They're just delaying. Their voters aren't going to like that, and so members give up. Then there's also rules-based exhaustion, which is more technical. Paragraph 1A of Senate Rule 19, originally embodied in Rule 4 of the original rules of the Senate adopted on April 16, 1787. So in other words, for the entirety of the Senate's existence, we've had this rule that says, while you're on the same legislative day, debating the same legislative matter, every senator may speak a maximum of 2 times in debate on that matter. At some point, they could exhaust the number of times they're able to speak, especially when you consider the Senate may remain in the same legislative day for many calendar days. There's a way to do that. So at some point, in theory, they could, if those opposed to this bill, could exhaust their right to speak on this same legislative matter, as long as we keep it focused on the same thing, and remain on the same legislative day, they run out of speaking slots. So in theory, they could run out of time there. It's not that likely, as likely that we have that kind of exhaustion as it is political and physical exhaustion. But at some point, they're no longer fielding senators speaking on this. The minute that we're in debate on this matter and they don't field speakers, nobody's standing up being recognized to speak in the Senate on this bill to debate it, we can call the question on the bill, which means the clerk reads the roll, you take the vote, and it can pass by a simple majority. That's how we do it. Now, this takes time. I want to be very clear about something. I'm not saying that this is easy. It is not. This is difficult. And I'm not trying to say that victory is guaranteed. It is not. Nothing in life is, but this one is in particular. This technique hasn't been used in a long time, but we still have to use it. Cloture is being abused. The American people are being abused. The integrity of our elections is called into question by the fact that these rules are not there. We have to do this. I have never felt so passionately, so certain about any particular parliamentary device being used on a particular bill as I feel about this one. This is the time. We've got to do it.
The American people are behind you. John Thune signed up again as a co-sponsor. He's a co-sponsor of the original. Out today, this morning, from the Senate room, the Senate press briefing room with all the grandeur of the Senate behind him, endorsing the Save America Act. So, in closing, seems like you're going to get what you want here. Is that correct?
Well,
no. And I know you don't want to speak for Thune or anything like that, but like you're talking with Thune. This is the only way to get it. You're not going to get 10 Democrat senators to vote for it.
And at the end of the day, if we're able to cast an up or down vote on this, I believe it passes.
Yeah.
We got to go through some steps
with 50
to get to that point with a simple majority, because we can get to. I want to get to this point. Mark Wayne mentioned it a minute ago. My friend and colleague Mark Wayne Mullen, senator from Oklahoma, you know him well. Good man. I thought it was great on brand that he's got the squash ball in here. Right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. And his wife's a saint. What a great family. So you were talking to him about this. Yes, because we're talking about passage, not cloture, vice presidents don't cast votes in the cloture context where the threshold is set at 60 because there is no tie vote. It's a different animal. Mm-hmm. But we're talking here about passage. Passage is simple majority. When you're dealing with a full plate, as we expect to be in this instance, we don't expect senators to miss this vote. Mm-hmm. It will occur at a simple majority, which means 51 votes. So if somehow it ends up at 50 to 50, the vice president can come in and break that tie.
We've seen that.
So if we
the
get
motorcade
to 50,
and everything, J.D. Vance running in from dinner. Yo, I got to put on a suit.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
We're up to 46 Senate co-sponsors as of right now. I expect we'll be able to bring that up to 49 or 50 by the end of the day today or tomorrow at the latest. And we're going to continue to work on the others. But in no circumstance do I see it as likely that when we get to that point, we're not going to lose that. The tough part is getting to that point, but we've got to be willing to put in the work.
So, final question. You got all the Democrat senators are going to vote against this. You think that, like, John Fetterman could be convinced? You think that there are some senators that could, like, maybe be like, oh, you know what, man, it's like, it makes a lot of sense, you know?
Sure, I think it's possible. We don't count on it. We can't count on it because not one of them have come out in support of it. And even though Senator Fetterman made a great comment the other day that he doesn't see any good argument against voter ID, he has not come out in support of this bill yet, but it doesn't mean that he couldn't vote for it when it got to that point. And I also don't rule out the possibility that once this is debated and has the ability to be aired, as I noted a moment ago, this bill is fascinating for many reasons. It hasn't responded to the left's bag of tricks in the same way that the left has come to expect. The more they throw at it, the more it becomes more popular.
Yeah, so it's more powerful.
So I'm not willing to rule out the possibility that some Democrat senators might change their minds on this as this is being debated. I'm not counting on it, but I think it's entirely possible. Because there are a lot of those senators who are in states where a lot of people do support it. In fact, this one, Benny, cuts across racial demographics, gender demographics, geographic, and even political demographics. You don't get to where it's an 80-20 issue in favor of the Save America Act without a whole lot of Democrats being on board. And this is one of the things that I find so fascinating about this spurious and absolutely shameful argument that they make that the Save America Act is somehow Jim Crow. 76% of black Americans support this. 76%. Benny, do you know that if the Save America Act is Jim Crow, you want to know what else is Jim Crow? The Democratic National Convention. You have to show ID. You cannot get into the Democratic National Convention without showing voter ID. One of my colleagues, a senator from Georgia, recently had a campaign rally last weekend. And it was made clear, I think on a website advertising the event, you could not get in without registering for the event and showing photo ID. I'm still shaking. I'm still triggered. And this, the party of Jim Crow, literally the Democratic Party, wrote the era of Jim Crow. That was their thing. I think they might want to sit out the opportunity to call something Jim Crow, especially where it, number one, doesn't belong, and number two, rekindles bad stuff that same party did a long time ago. This is absolutely absurd.
And then, last question here. What do elections look like then in the future? The elections then, this SAVE Act gets passed. Save America Act gets passed. The elections look like this. If you are not a citizen, there is now a mechanism to prevent you from voting. If you do not have an ID, you're not capable of getting an ID, like you got to have an ID to vote. You've got to be a U.S. citizen to vote.
Yeah.
What does an election look like in 2030? You know, sorry, 2028, you know?
Yeah. Our elections will be safer and more secure. Benny, we didn't used to have to worry about this as much. You know, in previous decades, well, if you go back far enough, it was far less common that you had people voting in precincts where they weren't known. And then, you know, fast forward a few years and maybe you didn't have quite the same incentives. We put so much, it's one of the reasons why I focus so much about things like federalism and separation of powers, is that we put so many eggs in the basket of the federal government that over time people have more and more incentive, particularly with federal elections, to just go crazy, do anything and everything it takes to do it. Then you add to that the NBRA in 1993, the way it was interpreted a couple decades later by the Supreme Court, with the Supreme Court saying, if you registered to vote this way, the state cannot, may not, must not, is prohibited by law from seeking any kind of verification as to a person's citizenship. And so these things have been building. Then the advent of issuing driver's licenses to non-citizens, including in many states, even to known illegal aliens, the ease of using the National Voter Registration Act form while applying for a driver's license to simultaneously register to vote. All those things combined, then you put it on steroids, crack cocaine, and powder cocaine all at the same time, when between 2021 and 2025, you had this massive influx of 10 to 15
People get radicalized.
million.
They got radicalized. They watched it. They watched all the vote rigging happen.
That's right.
In real time.
So anyway, to answer your question, how does this change? Our elections will become secure again if we do this. Yeah. And if we don't do it, it gets much, much worse.
Yes.
Some bills are more known for what they change from the status quo. Others are more known for what they prevent moving forward.
Yes.
This one will do both. It will end a lot of the existing problems, and it will forestall a massive escalation of those problems, a mushrooming, a hockey stick curve uptick in voter fraud if we don't do it. Benny, loss is not an option here. We have to do this. So to any and all within the sound of my voice, your audience is big and it's fantastic. Thank you for following him. He's terrific. All who are within the sound of my voice right now, I'd just encourage you to encourage your senators, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever party they may belong to, regardless of what state you're in, regardless of whether you think that your senator is likely to be supportive of the Save America Act or otherwise, please encourage them, number one, to support it, number two, to co-sponsor it, and number three, perhaps this is the most crucial part. Tell them that it's important to you that we enforce the talking filibuster here. Slay the zombie. The zombie filibuster has no place in the world of the Save America Act. I spoke to President Trump last night, shortly after it passed out of the House of Representatives. He feels strongly about this too. This is as important a bill as I think I've ever worked on, and failure is not an option.
Failure is not an option. The Republic is on the line, and the legislative hitman, Mike Lee, is in here to finish the job. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Senator. Everybody follow Senator Mike Lee. What's up? Make sure that we are pouring in and giving support for the people who are fighting for us. Mike Lee, right up here, and make sure you say a prayer also for the senator as he goes and fights these demons inside the Senate. Save America. God bless you, Senator.
Thank you. And I'll note that Twitter handle was brought to you by Benny Johnson.
Based Mike Lee.
Benny Johnson.
Bro.
Benny Johnson encouraged me to create this one. He said, "You got to have your own, bro. You got to."
That's right.
We were at the Turning Point conference in Tampa in the summer of 2022, and my wife was there with me. And I started. I think I misspelled it at first. I had to redo it.
Based Mike
Benny
Lee.
taught me.
That's right.
The importance of doing.
Now you're on your way to 1 million. You're on your way to 1 million.
Because I told you, I said I've already got 2 Twitter accounts. I've got a campaign one, and an official one. And he goes, no.
Gotta get that.
I want one that's you.
Yeah, that's
I want one that's you.
So when I was just in Utah, I gave a speech in Utah this weekend at St. George. It's gorgeous there. It's like it's just so beautiful there. So many great Republicans and patriots there.
Totally.
One of your
St. George is
totally
awesome.
based. One of your staffers came up to me. He's like, "Yo, I'm like legislative, whatever guy, Mike Lee." It's like, it's like, "What's up?" I was like, "I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry that I gave him his Twitter handle. I know this probably caused you guys a lot of headache."
What did he say?
He's like, "You know what? We've grown to love it." I'm like, good for you, man. Because you should. The man should be allowed to speak, and we should all be allowed to speak in support of the Save America Act. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
My man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We got our coffee brew right here. It's Blackout Coffee that powers our show. What an amazing show. Here in Washington, D.C., Blackout Coffee travels with us everywhere that we go. Their 250th anniversary blends are here. You know that we roll with our caffeine every single day. Blackout Coffee offers an incredible subscription package. You should go support these patriots who support our programming, this show, so we can keep fighting to save America. Blackout Coffee gives us the energy to do that. Perfect for work, travel, or keeping at your desk in a go bag. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use Benny for 20% off your first order. blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. This show also brought to you by American Financing. The math ain't mathin' if you are inside of forever debt. Debt that is high interest credit card debt, 20 and 30%, man, that is the kind of stuff that you call slavery. They're talking about Jim Crow. The KKK Act, literal debt slavery, is being inside of usury rates at credit cards. Even Trump says that this kind of stuff is immoral and should be illegal and should be capped at 10%. You can get out of them today, though. American Financing can help you. Call 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny will help you get out of that high-interest credit card debt today, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to thank all of you. Good news of the day. CNN has lost nearly 2/3 of their viewership since 2016. We are now beating CNN in the ratings. We now get more views every single day than CNN. CNN lost nearly 2/3 of its viewers. The decrease from roughly 1.3 million in 2016 to 500,000 now. A reminder, we just put on a Turning Point halftime show that had 6.17 million viewers. Is fueling rumors that the network is for sale. It is for sale, something CNN up for grabs parent company has denied. The results recorded this month, Nielsen, is actually an improvement from January. where they were only able to pull 400,000 sets of eyes on this very broken metric, the Nielsen rating. So it's got to be much, much lower than that. In overall views, we are beating CNN, and ladies and gentlemen, that means a very bright future for all of us. So we just want to say thank you for that. And it's something that we endeavor to do. A major announcement here, we are going to be having a huge State of the Union back in D.C. in approximately a week and a half. President Trump's State of the Union will be live inside of the United States Capitol from the Speaker's office. We'll be live with pretty much the entire cabinet. It's going to be an amazing production, and we're going to be able to take the President's speech live. I don't know if Trump's going to join the stream. It could be. Trump jump in and join the stream. Fans jump in and join the stream. Last year we had Tulsi. We had a Secretary of Education and Agriculture jumping on in, Brooke Rollins. It was awesome. Linda McMahon. It was amazing. And then a bunch of members of Congress and senators. It was rowdy. It was a blast. We'd have absolutely wild time, and then we roll right into President Trump's speech for the State of the Union. It's going to be awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, join us. That production will be brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile keeps us connected throughout the country whenever we are traveling. We're heading up for meetings, actually, right after this. It's like great to just know that it's sound. We're sound. We can work from the car. We can lock in, and we can keep it moving with Patriot Mobile. They deliver premium service on all 3 major networks. You get better coverage than anywhere else, backed 1,000% by U.S.-based customer support and also by the Christian principles that run this great company. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Benny for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. We talked about it, baby. FBI reviewing Fulton County vote count deficiencies. Court docs reveal. Look at that. Don't have enough time to talk about it right now, but look at us. Look at your boy. The FBI investigating Fulton County handling of the 2020 election, according to newly searched files and affidavits, show that they don't even have the ballots. They just straight up made up votes. The affidavits read through, you can see that they're like, yeah, there are major deficiencies in all of this. You got a major story brewing there, and we are going to stay on top of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we have time for today, the verse of the day. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust, from Psalm 91. What a beautiful verse to send you off, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, make your refuge the shelter of the Most High, and the world will never be able to move you, especially here in this town. Man, there's this, every time I'm in D.C., there's like this dark energy. I'm like, get me back to a red state. Nonetheless, we're thankful for our broadcast partners here at America First Policy Institute, where we are broadcasting today. It's a beautiful studio. We're excited about it. We're excited about these partnerships. They're going to be joining us also for our State of the Union mega stream from inside of the Capitol. That will be our fortress. Make your fortress the kingdom of God today. Christ is King. It's your boy, Benny. Remember, in the end, we march on to victory because we're going to win. We're going to win, especially with the Save America Act. See ya.
Hi, may I see your voter ID?
I got this driver license.
Yeah, that should work.
No, those don't work, honey.
How about this EBT card?
Yep, that should do it.
Do you have a voter ID? We can get you one here.
How you expect me to do all that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny shows the storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salt in all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.